Je regrette que je ne dois pas aller en anglais parce que j'ai étudié la langue française dans l'école beaucoup de temps. Il y a, j'ai oublié la prononciation. Bien. Euh, alors, euh, je voudrais parler du père Ignace Maternowski. Uh, Father Ignatius Maternowski was a Franciscan friar and priest from the United States of America. His parents had emigrated to the United States from Poland, so we would say he was a Polish-American Franciscan priest. And he entered my province of the Franciscan Friars, which is the eastern province in the United States, in Massachusetts, and where he was born. And he lived in a little village town called Holyoke, and his parents lived there throughout the rest of Father Ignatius's life. They sent him to study at our Franciscan school, a secondary school, in the region of upstate New York around Buffalo, and he graduated there from St. Francis High School in Hamburg, New York. And it's my hope that at the ceremony in June of 2022, there will be two young men from that high school who will represent the alma mater of Father Ignatius at the ceremonies in June of 2022. After he graduated from St. Francis High School, Father Ignatius entered the Franciscan order as a novice, later took his vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They're symbolized by the three knots on the cord. I'm wearing the same kind of Franciscan habit that Father Ignatius would have worn at the time that he entered our order. And eventually he was ordained to the holy priesthood. And shortly after his ordination to the holy priesthood, what happened was the war broke out, and chaplains were needed in the war. So several of our Franciscan friars, including Father Ignatius, entered the chaplaincy corps of the United States Army. Father Ignatius wanted to be such a good chaplain that he trained with the soldiers, and he became part of the 508th Parachute Infantry Regiment of the 82nd Airborne Division. So he trained how to jump out of the airplanes, how to be a good parachutist, because he felt that a good chaplain, a good aumônier, has to accompany the men. And then as the United States was preparing for the D-Day movement, which would liberate France from the German occupation, he was stationed in England, and they didn't quite know the date of the operation that would liberate France, but they got the clue that something would be happening that night. So before leaving England, Father Ignatius had a large outdoor mass for the troops, and they prayed for D-Day. They prayed for the people of France. They prayed for all of the liberating armies that would come. They prayed for all the innocent victims here at Mass. And then he gave general absolution to the forces before they would embark. Early in the morning of D-Day, the 6th of June 1944, a C-47 aeroplane dropped Father Ignatius with his companions from the 508th into Normandy, and he wasn't injured at all in the parachute jump, but he noticed the gliders and many injuries among the troops, and so his first job was ministering to the wounded soldiers and the wounded parachutists, the wounded glider people, and he approached the hamlet of Guertville, and in Guertville many of the wounded were brought, as well as joining up with civilians, and he was concerned that the German occupation, which was just down the road from them would harm the wounded and harm the innocent non-combatants of Guertville. So he put on the Red Cross armband as specified in the Geneva Conventions of 1929. He was very conversant with the rules of war that were articulated in the Geneva Conventions and how non-combatants and wounded had to be protected, that there was no room in war for any injury to non-combatants or to the wounded or to the others. Father Ignatius then, as I said, was well conversant with the rules of the Geneva Conventions, so he thought he had a chance meeting with his German counterpart in Guertville to persuade the Germans to allow the place where the wounded and non-combatants were gathered to be a protected, safe place, free from any danger. And he walked down the street wearing the red armband without any weapons, conversed with the commandant or the commander's counterpart in the German occupation force, and thought he'd persuaded them to protect the innocent. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and Father Ignatius was killed by a bullet. We don't know exactly who fired the bullet, but we know that he died on the main street in the hamlet of Guertville on the 6th of June, 1944. He was the only chaplain in the United States forces to die on D-Day. And we are here now in Coquigny, near Guertville, where he died, to honor his memory. Let me also add here that Father Ignatius saw a union, a cohesion between his three vocations: his vocation to be a Franciscan, his vocation to be a priest, and his vocation to be an army chaplain. For him, all three were interconnected as a mission of love for the people whom he was called to serve. So when...
En fait, ce vitrail est l'idée des pères franciscains, de Viviane Roger, Rodolphe son mari, et des membres de l'association US Normandie Mémoire et Gratitude, il y a plus de 2 ans. À cause du Covid, on n'a pas pu réceptionner le vitrail avant, donc il est arrivé cette année, il y a exactement 1 mois et demi, qu'il a été posé par la société Vitrail France du Mans, qui a fait un travail remarquable. Il a été créé par Joe Bayer, qu'on voudrait remercier d'ailleurs pour son travail exceptionnel, parce que vu la qualité de ce vitrail, c'est vraiment magnifique. Dans ce vitrail, on retrouve tout ce qu'a dit le père James McCreary à propos des uniformes. C'est-à-dire que on voit le père Maternowski en aube, qui représente les franciscains, et en même temps, il a dans sa main sa veste de parachutiste, sa M42, avec justement cette symbolique protégée par les conventions de Genève, comme il n'était pas combattant, avec la Croix-Rouge. Et sur son casque, on retrouve sa croix, et sur ses cols, on retrouve aussi sa croix, qui normalement devait le protéger et qui faisait apparaître aux yeux des ennemis comme un prêtre. Dans ce vitrail, d'autres éléments importants, comme la Purple Heart, l'emblème de Picoville, différents emblèmes tout autour du vitrail, mais aussi Joe Bayer avait tenu à ce qu'il y ait des vaches, des parachutistes, qui représentent vraiment ce 6 juin 1944. On retrouve en bas du vitrail 2 anges parachutistes qui tiennent le bandeau où il y a le nom du prêtre, du père Maternowski. Une petite histoire dans la grande histoire: Joe Bayer, son père, était radio sur les C-47 au moment du 6 juin 44. C'est pour ça qu'il y a 2 C-47 et un des C-47 est le C-47 du créateur du vitrail, de Joe Bayer, son père, qui était à l'intérieur.